Mirko, Lesta development blog. Close testing, ship detection mechanics change. Close testing of the concept of changes to the mechanics of ship detection by aircraft, as well as when using radar and hydroacoustic search, will be held soon. Please note this blog is just a preliminary concept, and testing it does not necessarily mean it will be released to the main server. It may undergo many changes, or even change completely, be released only partially, or not be released at all. As already stated in the title, we want to test the update of the spotting mechanics. The planned changes will affect aircraft carriers, as well as such reconnaissance equipment as hydroacoustic search and surveillance radar. The mechanics of partial detection will be added to the principles of their operation. It is the display of the enemy as a gray silhouette, similar to what happens when submarines use... I assume that's, what is it called? The surface spotting thing? What the hell was it called? Humopelengator. Basically, it's their surface spotting thing. What a translation, holy shit. The gray silhouette will be visible to all allies for 3 seconds and will be updated every 4 seconds. Okay, so it's visible 3 seconds and updates every 4 seconds. It will not be possible to lock on to a ship detected in this way. However, the player still has the opportunity to attack and cause damage, but this will require certain skills and dexterity, minimap shooting. You can draw an analogy with shooting at an enemy standing in smoke when his position is determined by the tracers of the shells. A player detected in this way will see special icons. They are similar to the usual detection icons, but will be gray. Interesting. Gray silhouettes will additionally be marked with a pulsating icon for those players who discover the ship as a gray silhouette. Okay. It is also important to note that detecting an enemy as a gray silhouette will not be considered detection in the traditional sense, meaning it will not count towards the commander skills related to visible enemies, okay, such as outnumbered. Moreover, the rules for applying this mechanic in all 3 cases will be different. Let's consider each separately. Aviation. The aircraft in the game can be divided into 2 groups, those controlled directly by the player, and automatic, that is those acting independently, fighter spotters, airstrike, aircraft, etc. Player-controlled aircraft, sorry, video popped up later, so apart from a small number of hybrid ships, it is only found on aircraft carriers. This is primarily the target of this change. We want to test the reduction of the reconnaissance potential using the partial detection mechanic. Ship detection for player-controlled aircraft works as follows. The player on the aircraft carrier, controlling the squadron, himself sees all enemy ships as before. At the same time, all his allies will see all the ships he has detected as gray silhouettes. Okay, let's see. What, so he blinks in and out for everyone else, or what? Okay. Okay, so I guess gives you better options to evade. It's not full minimap spotting, but it's like reduced spotting, I think. Please note, if testing of the changes is successful, we will consider options to strengthen aircraft carriers to compensate. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Automatic aviation. It's great for turning DDs. Yeah, it's good for DDs because you see them going straight and you shoot, and then the next update they're actually turning. I feel like it gives you the opportunity to dodge planes late and throw off like maybe shots. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Automatic aviation, in this case, everything is quite simple. If such aircraft could previously detect ships, now they will only detect ships as a gray silhouette. As for the planes that cannot detect ships, nothing will change for them. This way, the rules for aircraft detection will be uniform, and players will understand that the enemy team, except for players on aircraft carriers, sees them only as silhouettes. Thank you, TC, for gifting a sub to Der Schreck. Hydra and Search. Okay, at the same... Since the introduction into the game, this equipment has been an unavoidable way to detect an enemy that has entered range. At the same time, the detected player can try to only try to leave the range of the equipment, or he has to actively maneuver to minimize the damage received. But he is still always visible, and not even every island will allow you to avoid receiving damage. In the proposed prototypes, we want to test an additional countermeasure to this equipment using a partial detection mechanic, which will make the player's ship not always directly visible to opponents. However, the principal operation will differ slightly depending on the equipment. Hydroacoustic search. In the case of Hydro, a gray silhouette will be displayed if there is an island between the ship that activated the equipment and the enemy. Oh, wait. Islands matter for Hydro now? A gray silhouette will be displayed if there's an island between the ship that activated it. Okay. Okay, so he's using Hydro. So it blinks in and out. Because there's an island between the Hydra. Okay. Now he's what, surface spotting him? What's happening in the video? A destroyer with detectability 5.4 is located behind the island at a distance 5.5. The cruiser turns on Hydroacoustic search. For convenience, having switched to airstrike mode, we see the gray silhouette of the destroyer. 0.13, the cruiser approaches to a distance closer than 5.4 and it then detects the destroyer directly. Okay. And at 0.25, destroyer uses smoke generation, so smoke sub. At the same time, since it's still within the cruiser's hydroacoustic search, we again see the gray silhouette. Okay. So there's a point to being behind islands, and actually a point to smoking up behind an island in Hydro now, because you start blinking in and out, because the island is blocking the Hydro. And now you can see it's reversing out, and when the island no longer blocks, I assume it's going to become fully visible? Yeah, now, because there's direct hydroacoustic search contact now. Yo, the fucking technology. Okay. Interesting. Change will not affect the interaction of hydroacoustic search with torpedoes. They will be detected as before. This will change the way you play every map. Yeah, Hydro will be so... Damn, that's actually... That changes a lot. That changes surprisingly much. Interesting. Search radar. The radar's operation will also depend on the islands, but in addition to them, it will take into account the ship's overall points. In other words, if the island is not high enough and does not completely cover the ship, so that the overall point by which the ship's detection is determined is still visible, then when the search radar is activated, the ship will be detected. We would like to note one more change. In the prototype, the 6-second delay in displaying the ship detected by the surveillance radar consumable will be removed from the game. If the radar detects a ship, it is immediately visible to all eyes. Oh shit. So they take away some, but they buff some. What's happening in the video? All enemy destroyers are located behind the islands, so when the radar is activated, they appear as gray silhouettes. Since it was our player who discovered these gray silhouettes, they are marked with a pulsating dot. Okay, so you get that kind of icon that there's a DD there, but and I guess but you can't see much else. So you actually have to you can't just sit behind an island and radar everything. Yeah, they blink in and out. They blink in and out just the same, but because they're behind islands, holy shit. Holy shit. Ship height has to matter then. The blink could also be a BB if the highline's high enough. Yeah, you have to look. What is my radar detecting? Okay. What's happening in the video? Destroyers behind the island has seized the cruiser. The cruiser is outside the search detection range and does not see it. The cruiser turns on its radar. Since the destroyer can detect the cruiser directly, their overall points are mutually visible to each other, so the cruiser detects the destroyer using the radar. The destroyer uses smoke generator and stops seeing the cruiser, but since the island is not high enough to interfere with the radar, the cruiser continues to see the destroyer. The destroyer goes behind the hill and disappears from lighting. The destroyer does not have time to slow down and is detected again before it can appear as a gray silhouette. The destroyer successfully goes behind the hill, and now it is displayed as a gray silhouette. Yo, the mechanics. Okay, so he gets spotted, he pops radar, he can see him. I guess the highest point can be seen over the island. He smokes up, it doesn't affect anything. Doesn't change anything, but when he goes, I guess, behind this thing, Yeah, he goes dark. But then he gets spotted again going here. So he realized he can go dark here, so he goes dark, but he's still gonna be picked up on like with the ping, right? Yeah, he's still gonna get the gray silhouette. Holy shit. Bro, that's gonna change so much of how you play the game. Terrain will matter so much more. Terrain will be an effective tool against Hydra and Radar. Like, they'll still be able to know you're there, but they won't, like... God damn. The island isn't just a dumb box. Yeah, exactly. Huh. Interesting. Very cool concept. I don't know how they'll play, but, like, if you catch a DD in the open, it's gonna be just as before. If you catch him in the open, basically if a DD is sailing around like an idiot in your spawn, he's gonna blow up just as quickly as before. But if a DD is using terrain, he's gonna be significant and positioning well. He's gonna be significantly harder to kill. It's pretty fucking interesting. Do you think it's good for the game overall? Sounds like a huge DD buff. I don't know. I don't know. But I think they have to do... I think it's part of the thing that they're making so subs can be spotted by Hydra as well. And they changed the submarine consumable to be Hydra as well. They no longer have like unique consumables. I think it's part of their sub rework as well. I don't know. Like, the DDs that don't understand positioning are still gonna blow up just as before. Good DDs using terrain are gonna be significantly harder to kill. Huh. The hydrophone in the sub mode works like this. Yeah, exactly. Huh. I don't know. Like, on one hand, is it gonna make DDs too powerful all of a sudden? Maybe. But then on the other hand, it was always really stupid to have, if you park the cruiser next to an island, you could just radar and hydra an entire cap without ever fucking even seeing the cap, because your consumables just magically went through the fucking rock, which never made any sense either. So now he actually have to push out and get direct line of sight with the guy in order to be able to hard light him. Uh, hmm. Interesting, I think. Interesting. I think for competitive gamers, this will be very, very interesting because this is another step up in skill expression and another step up in positioning and how you play the game. Interesting. It's interesting. I don't know how, I can't say if it's going to be a good or a bad change, but I will say, as always, it tends to be with their devlogs, it's interesting.